West FM radio playing good.
It undermines the fofana ika ajeli makumo mbesa no bile barekada yele doni fo fanata kamale ni ko mariam fo fana ma ka ko ni diari la ara fa ko ni diari la mina dugu diara dunya ibemba ya janyu ke kaso janyu go diari bemba ke ade iye mariam na tunya tigima kaso ko benatu manale iye mamuna fanga tigima tonya ko benatu manale dikara lolole di samaele beiti daleke dileke benitu malero ko benatu manale dikara kalole di samaele beiti daleke dileke benitu malero
Ujai, everyone. Ujai. Welcome to the Wisdom of the Nile show. And we're here once again this week here, presenting, representing the Health Center. Yeah, this is, the Health Center is a multifaceted, not-for-profit organization, and it's preserving Kem's culture. And so we would just like to give you like an overview of how the school actually started, and I'll hand you over to my fellow colleague who will introduce himself.
Ujahi everybody, my name is Sanun Nesebik, and I'll just tell you a bit about the Earth Center. So, the Prophet Nebnaba al-Muslim Denevig was a Dogon high priest from a village in Burkina Faso, belonging to a lineage of healers, tracing their history to the Nile Valley civilization. In 1995, Prophet Nebnaba embarked on an unprecedented journey across the globe, after receiving the blessings and support of the Gorman royalty, the dignitaries of the traditional temples, and the grand divinities of Kemet. Nebnaba's mission was to bring to the general public, for the benefit of all humanity, the knowledge, the wisdom of the Nile. Nebnaba opened the first Earth Center school in 1995 in Chicago, Illinois, where he began to take people through the initiatic process. The Earth Center began to grow as the demand for the authentic spiritual knowledge increased. There are currently 9 Earth Center schools, 6 in the US, 2 in the UK, 1 in Canada. The Earth Center consists of 3 branches, the first being Umtam School, of Kemetic philosophy and spirituality. Within this school, there are three classes that are taught. There is the Medumait. Medumait is what the colonial world will call hieroglyphs. We learn to speak the Medu, to write it, and we learn the culture we learn our traditions. The second is Kartibi, or meditation / yoga. Kartibi is the original form of meditation that exists. So all of the other forms like Tai Chi, yoga, Qigong, all come from the Kartibi. In the Kartibi, you'll learn those movements, and you'll also learn the prayers, the Zemzem. So Zemzem's like the traditional prayers. You learn how to communicate with your ancestors, with the divine world, and you'll also learn the cultural aspects surrounding spirituality and how to purify yourself in order to, you know, sort of raise your energies. The third class is Sunt, or traditional healing. In the Sunt class, you learn traditional techniques to heal the body. It's a very technical discipline, so it's not a matter of you know what, I took this pill, it worked for me, it's going to work for you. It's not a case of, oh, you know what, I ate only vegetables today, it works for me, it's going to work for you. For us in the Sun class, we always have to be humble. We have to learn that this herb is going to do this, and not everybody is the same. So we have to check what is really going on with that person before we give herbs. There are some general herbs, as we can discuss later, such as Ninika. Ninika is often called the human being's best friend. So in Sun class, you learn traditional healing and various, you know, aspects of the body and how they function. So also, Ancaster Natural Healing provides priests and healers who are devoted to preserving the traditional knowledge of Kemet, provides them an avenue to practice their craft. So for anybody who is looking for healing and they want to get it done in Merita, they can go there and get that. So they also provide readings, things like, you know, dream interpretation, and so that is Ancaster Natural Healing. So it's a worldwide healing network of priests and healers. So we also have Firefly Productions. Firefly Productions is the publishing house of the Earth Center, disseminating traditional Kemetic knowledge. So within Firefly, we have magazines, which is called the Rising Firefly. So that is a journal of Kemetic knowledge and spirituality and culture. So within there, as you'll hear a bit later, they have various articles telling you about, you know, the culture, talking about history, maybe you know, really taking apart some of the monuments that we have, you know, and assumptions that we have about the traditional world, and assisting many people across the world in really it's got brainwashing, washing the brain of all of the filth that the colonial world has put into us. So we also have projects in Merita. Projects in Merita it ensures that solutions, you know, to Africa, to Merita, our problems, you know, can be found and applied by ourselves. So for example, we install clean water wells. We also do, there's, you know, projects like a museum. So, you know, a museum in a traditional way. So it's not about, let's take some of these, items and, put them in here so people can look at them. It's gathering traditional knowledge, traditional items that have been freely given, so that people in Merita, in the diaspora, can go and have a look and can start regaining their culture. Just for a moment. Okay. So also, Nebnaba Lemusamor Denebig, he's known throughout the world as an authority on Kemetic culture and spirituality. He leaves us books, kind of going back a little bit to the Firefly productions. We have books written by him, such as the Philosophy Podium, Initiatic Tales of Hedgestar, the Rising Firefly magazine. So some of the articles he's written, other articles are written by initiates. He reconnected the world to the sidereal calendar. This is the Kemetic calendar, and it provides all of us a good grounding for us to find our place in time and space. So with that, we know how to. It has some information on doing, our divine holy day, our ancestral holy day. It also tells us when to do certain, spiritual activities and certain holy days throughout the Kemetic year. So also we have video lectures on DVDs, audio lectures on CDs, and we have one of the most important documents that has ever existed, the Book of Divine Ordinances, or the 77 Commandments. With those, this is really our humanity's guide that was given to us from the divine world. It ensures that we know what not to do. If anybody who considers themselves a part of humanity wants to regain themselves, who wants to evolve, who wants to be a spiritual person, then these 77 commandments are a must. So we also have the Mandala of Dendera, which is the original map of the sky. So you may also see in the colonial world the zodiac. So this is the original. So you can buy that. The divine audiences and the mandala come in a poster, and those are available to purchase. So yeah, so all of these items are available for purchase. So please, get in contact with us. So the Earth Center is open on Sundays between 11 AM and 4:30 PM. So I'll give you the contact details. So the telephone number is 0207 175 4144. 0207 175 4144. The email is umtamuk@theearthcenter.com. So also on social networks, Facebook is the Earth Center UK, Twitter is @Kebta UK, Instagram is the Earth Center of UK, and our website is theearthcenter.org. We're also on Meetup, so you can go to the Earth Center Kemetic Mystery School, got that correct, and the Earth Center Coventry. So on there you'll see events, and you can also contact us on those social networks. So our proverb for today, or for this week, is to deny the power of the ancestral spirit is to choose one's destruction, is to refuse to exist.
Well, Jay, my brother, forgive dua for that, and yeah.
Nini?
Yeah, so we'll just like to play you just a short interlude before we move on, and
wallah woni basaru mimi wal kadi ko jambar ko wonnoɗo waɗo no bokan o ko jambar e fuladu ko jambar e nder fuladu o yayimo waɗoyi arde ko ardi e nder fuladu an mboni haɓane fami muɗum an mboni liggo ligge muɗum ɓe ara ɗumen ama jayno ngol ɗo on wiyeteno o wonno sellu kuyada mbaalo banna kanko jeyi noon oɗo basar ni fof koye culture meɗen tawa ni fof koye social meɗen fula ɗum tawa hakkunde Musa Molo e sellu kuyada ko ɗo ɓe mbanno kibaru hakkunde mumen sellu kuyada ko lamɗo Musa Molo ko lamɗo Musa Molo o yimmi o haɗoyi sellu kuyada o tawi ɓeni mbaɗa wari o diwra banta mumen ɗo ɗo wiyete dandu o wi salamu aleykum ɓeɗo mbiya mi wari ɓeɗo mbiya mi ñaami ɓeɗo mbiya mi hawi o wi salamu aleykum ha fimi daaji tati ala mon jaabi ala mon dankiɗo ha kadi minitaji capan tati sellu kuyada juniti laari ɗum wiɗum Musa Molo bisimillah Musa Molo bisimillah o wi sukaɓe makko nangeɗi pucci kabboye umen pucci ɗi nanga kabboya o wi Musa Molo bisimillah Musa Molo to nder diwre to ina wertana toon guda o ƴendi e paɗe makko o ɓolaki paɗe ɗe o ƴendi e mumen to nder diwre to o yaabi diwre nde o yaabi ɗo wertana ɗo sellu kuyada wiyanumo noddani wambaɓe muɗum gara ɓen nodda o wiya wambaɓe ɓena koɗan ɗum tawi o suyta haalde konngol o tugga Musa Molo woni woodi hare nde arani o wi sukaɓe makko ngaaroye ndi ngaari ɓaleɗe muña Musa Molo ngari nakke nangoya baleri not hirsa wiya kodo bismillah ɗum waɗi firti Musa Mol ko mayde wopima wonno Musa ƴendi paɗe ɗe ɗo mertanteri ɗo wombaɓe nodda sellu kuyada noddi wombaɓe wiyoɓe na koɗan ɗum wonogol o basaru ɓe mbaɗi ne aɗo tuggere jigi bala haɓe Allah jinga bala waɓɓo nangue bala e sollaru joom kande ɓuuri o lamɗi sellu kuyada hoko ɗi kolli kaali mbo nani ko kolli ɗi kaali ko kono mbo lamɗi sellu kuyada hono ɗi kolli kaali hoko kaali Musa o lamdima ɗum sellu kuyada wiyo kolli ɗi ko kaali ko maccuɗo haari fof ko pullo o ɓuuri a wi ɗo ɓe goni ha saɗiyade o timmi ha koɗoya o timmi o ɗowfi ɗum ha e hakkude o wi sellu kuyada muña jaafoɗa koɗo yoɗami ñalgu nangam a nani sellu kuyada wi ɗum mi nani wiɗum ma nani sellu kuyada wiɗum nawru am ɗum e hunnuko am ko heesi umde hunde mi firtata ko ma mi waɗa ɗum ɗum wonno sababu sellu kuyada ñalande nde arti o yahi o hoɗoyi Musa yi ɗum ko wi ɗum bisimillah o jippini ɗum o nangi pucci habbi o wi suukaɓe makko gadde dumbirgal ngal ɓe gaddoye dumbirgal ngal o dumbi sellu kuyada mbaalo o hor koyngal ɗo o waɗi ɗum to pucci ɗi kaɓɓete to o wi ɗum ko ngolama konngol kalnuɗagol nangima hande konngol nangina joom makko sellu kuyada woni ɗon ha juuti ɓe kaldoye haalaji o wiyo sellu kuyada wiyo ne noddana bawɗi ɗi noddoya ɗi pii mbo wi Musa Molo hoko ɗi bawɗi kaali Musa Molo wi ɗum bawɗi ɗi ko kaali wonko haalano firtima wonko eɓɓano firtima ko eɓɓano simbo ariyam mbo waɗama kono firtima ɗon sellu kuyada o waynodiri e Musa o hoori o tappinoyi jamdi ɓaleeri o waɗi ɗum tasawal ɗo koyngal makko ɗum addani mbaalo kunda jamdi ɓaleeri harle waɗeɗo koyngal ɗo mawɓe law ha hanina kettonno e ɗum aro yaha ha han heddi yaade e nder ful heddi yaade e nder yimɓe jiya joom waɗaneɗo jawo ka e jamdi ɓaleeri tawa ndini harla ɗum woni sosal fula ɗum
Welcome back to Bless FM, and this is the Wisdom of the Nile show, operating from representing the Health Center. And I'd just like to give out the studio number, so like if anyone wants to call in really and join in the discussion or have any contribution to make, the number to reach us on is 07 9 444 31 366. I repeat, 07 94 444 31 366. And that's our studio number. So if you want to kind of if you want to kind of say contact us, really, that's the number to reach us on. This section of the program, really, like we would like to just go into what we will say like is ancestral holy day, but we just like to backtrack really like from where we started off there last week in explaining about the calendar and the Kemetic time in the sidereal calendar and how it came into existence. And what we said was that the concept of the net, the concept of the netter year of 14461 years was where we had like what they would call it like the helical rising, and what our ancestors did really like they more or less found a cycle that was a perfect cycle for us to kind of measure the concept of time. Because when you really look at time, you know, how do we measure time really in sense of how do we measure it? How do we know? So what they did, they basically found a cycle which was like a perfect cycle, and that was they noticed what we will say is the Septek star, and it's known as the Sirius star. And they use a sidereal position really of the sun and the earth really, and from there they basically saw how long it took, like say for it to complete what we say like a full cycle. And in that cycle they recognized that there were other cycles within that, but this was the perfect cycle that actually affect the other cycles within it, such as the moon cycle, the sun cycle, the earth cycle. And so the sidereal calendar was basically based off that, and it's you know, the year it took 1,461 years for it to kind of say to make that full circle. And within that we have a smaller cycle of 1,461 days, and within that we have 4 seasons within that 1,461 days, which we call like seasonal year. It's also known as a farmer's year, and that's basically where the earth cycle of 365 days. And within that we have our seasons. What our ancestors did, they used that cycle there because they noticed that there was the changing of the seasons and for vegetation and planting, so they were able to, that's why they use that cycle basically for that basic. That's why it's called like a farmer's year. But the real cycle for a year is actually the 1,461 days. Within that 1,461 days, sorry, within the 365 days, we have 12 months of 30 days and 1 month of 5 days, and that gave us the 365 days. Each month is made up of 3, what we would say 3 decans, and a decan is 10 days. So each month, as I say, is 30 days, and we have 3 decans. Within that decan we have the calendar itself actually gives us our spiritual days. It connects humanity to nature, to the universe, and so that was important because it gave us the days, not just of celebrating our ancestral days and our divine holy days, but other important kind of spiritual days that that we celebrate or that we recognize. So we have our ancestral days, which is basically it's within that decan, that the ancestral day is actually on the 5th day of that 10-day cycle. So which basically it comes back around on a 10-day cycle. So every 10 days we have an ancestral days, and that day basically is a very important day for us really, because as humankind on this planet here, we're all connected to something. We didn't just come from nowhere really, right? So our becoming really, right, was from who precedes us. And so this is where we recognize our ancestors on this day. So we would look at really say who are we basically and where we're coming from. And Kemetic cosmogony is the first ever creation story to humankind, basically, that states it states that when the great god Ra became, he stated the following.
So Ra said, I am the becoming of the existence. When became for me the becoming of the becomings, after my becoming, I then established within my heart the becoming of the many becomings of my becomings, in the becomings of the children and the children of those children.
And basically that is where humanity and existence came into existence. And the next thing is to say, well, who is an ancestor? Because I think some of us are a bit confused as to who really is an ancestor. And basically an ancestor is your bloodline. So we've all got ancestors out there, and we're all connected to a bloodline. And so when we talk about who is our ancestors, it was who came before us, who, you know, so in the M-time science of earth energy, it says that everything that precedes something will always be the ancestors of all that is or will be. And that anyone who challenges and denigrates his ancestor directly or indirectly is set for self-destruction. So it's important really that we respect and honor our ancestors, and in honoring them we're also honoring ourselves, because when we honor them they honor us, and vice versa, and it continues that way. So
yeah, just to add on to that and kind of go back a little bit, that, you know, we have a lot of the Sidereal calendar, you know, it's accurate, astronomically and spiritually correct. So as you see, you know, we have 30 days in a month. Every single year you have the same calendar. Every 10 days you have your ancestral holy day. Every 10 days you have your divine holy day. All of the holy days that come throughout the year, they're on the exact same day every year. We look at the modern calendar, the Gregorian calendar, and we have days that are falling on a Tuesday, but it's on the 21st, or maybe it's on a Wednesday, and that's the 21st, or all of this silliness. That just goes to show that the calendar isn't accurate. Then you have, like you're saying, Ancestral Holy Day. I think I heard recently it was Pancake Day.
something like that, yeah.
What is that, really? On Ancestral Holy Day, we make spiritual cakes. Spiritual cakes. There's a reason for doing them. We offer them to our ancestors. On Pancake Day, why do we do that?
Well, who's that being offered to, though?
You know, we're gorging ourselves on pancakes, honey. That's for the ancestors. if you're going to eat some, give some to your ancestors. You know, ancestral holiday every 10 days, Pancake Day. When's that? Is it once a year?
Once a year, well, from my understanding, yeah. But as you say, really, you know, what does it mean? What is it referring to? I mean, they have us kind of say distracting really us from where we should be going, and their calendar and everything is actually based off nothing, whereas this sidereal calendar is, as my colleague said, right, is astronomically kind of correct, and it's actually based off something, whereas the calendars that we're operating off, the Gregorian calendar, it was actually Pope Gregory actually just decided that as from today, their world begins. And so when we're in this year 2019, that's actually what it actually means. That since then, when they try to take over to begin their world, that's what 2019 actually represents. And as you can see in by the sidereal calendar, one cycle, 1 year, is actually 1,461 years. Yeah, so that's what we will call like the Netter year. And so a small year is actually what the year on the earth, yeah, which is 1,461 days. So this calendar is actually connected to nature, to the spirit world. It connects us back to ourselves, which we've been disconnected from. And so our topic, why we're honoring our ancestors, is to know who we are. What happens when we die? Do we just die and not exist no more? As it would say, death does not mean the end of our existence. It's a door that opens to allow us, to allow the soul to experience more lives. And so in understanding the purpose as to say why we came here, right, many of us will go through our lifetime really not knowing who we are and what we actually came here to serve, the purpose we came here to serve. And so having these spiritual days and connecting to them, right, and knowing who we are and what we came here to do, it actually brings us back into sync with our purpose of what we're trying to achieve. So we know that the blood that runs through us, yeah, is the blood in our vein, and the spirit which inhabits us has been transmitted to us by our parents and by their parents, etc., and so on. So we know that that bloodline goes right back to the beginning of creation in the story, the I am the becoming of existence. Well, that's where we started from. You know, so our bloodline, what we say, our ancestors go right back to that beginning. You know, so we have to understand, right, that we've been existing, and the blood that we carry is a blood river that never dries up. And so once we honor and recognize our ancestors, right, then there will be that continuation, you know. And so when we die, it's not that we automatically become an ancestors. There's a difference between what we would say there is what we call, like, say, dead relatives and ancestors. So not everyone, when they die, actually make it into the ancestral world straight away. But there are things that we can do, yeah, to help those dead relatives to elevate themselves to become ancestors. And again, a quote from the traditional temples of Kemet teaches us that every person who dies is not necessarily an ancestor, for death in itself does not confer on the deceased to rank of ancestors. And so we understand really, right, that having left the physical body, the deceased is an entity and physically reduced to nothing, and only his name through descendant remains in the memory of the material world. So we are in the material world and our ancestors are in the non-material world. And so we did a topic there a few weeks back on the importance of name and the reason and how we're given our names really, and how the readings are done for us to acquire those names. And so we would just like to play you a short, well, we'll just carry on playing. The name itself, yeah, is an integral part of the existence of all living thing. And so the abstract aspect of the name identifies us in relation to the earth and the universe.
So you know, just kind of going to that quote that we had, and you know, it said that we stop existing when we don't acknowledge our ancestors. So I know a lot of us, we don't even know who our grandparents are, what their names were. Our great grandparents, we don't know what their names were. Doesn't matter what their name actually was, the fact that we don't even know is a disadvantage to us. So when we're trying to find, you know, who we are, and you know, it comes to maybe even, you know, doing an offering, who are we going to offer it to? I mean, sure, you know, we can say to those I don't know, but really it's better to know the name, and it's better for that name to have been given by the earth. Because if you're putting, you know, your offering on your altar, and then that energy is going, you know, to your ancestors, if the earth can't find who that person is, then where is that energy going to go? Are they really going to be fed? You know, it's our duty to give life to those who gave us life. So when they transition, we need to feed them. We need to keep that cycle going. You call upon their name, the earth takes it straight. They receive it, they benefit. They're your parents. They'll do whatever they can to reciprocate and make life better for you. When you have children, what are you going to call them? I remember hearing once that somebody called their daughter Apple. Why would you call your daughter Apple? Are they a fruit? You know? You eat fruits, don't you? It's very weird. But that's the society that we're holding on to. We've got to start letting go of whatever, you know, this society is giving us. Even if it's just a little bit. Start living how we used to live. Even if it's just a little bit. Maybe change your name. Maybe go through initiation. Get your name. Has to mean something.
And I mean, from as you say, it has to mean something, because what we're seeing out there is that where parents are giving their children name that really doesn't mean anything. And when we look at, like, say, the mentality and the mindset, because as I say, you grow into that, and your name is an identification for you when you go into the spirit world. That's what he said. That's what identify you. You know, to tell a story about someone and not put a name to it is like we wouldn't have no idea of who and what we're referring to. So that's the significance of a name. So the universe, as we say, really, it recognize, and this is it's a way for us to track who we are, you know, who we were in our previous existence, before we come back again, really, right, to fulfill our destiny. And so this is one of the reasons why we acknowledge and honor and validate the world of the dead. And this is why we have our ancestral day and our divine holy days. Days really like we kind of say honor our ancestors and honor the deities, the neters, really, who actually brought creation into existence. And we can help to raise our dead relatives, to become ancestors, and that's the reason why we would do our ancestral day, because by elevating them, you know, we put them in a stronger position, because they have a lot of influence basically with the netters to negotiate on our behalf for us here in the physical world. And when we recognize them and do for them so that they can elevate themselves higher, then they become closer to the netters, to the deities. So therefore, really, you know, it's like you're friend with someone, you get close to someone as a friend, then, you know, the more close you become to them, is the more opportunities and influence that you would have. And in that respect, if you ignore someone, then they will ignore you. And this is what's happening, that we're going through honoring other people's ideology, other people's religion, that really has no meaning to it, has no value to it. And so it's important, really, that we recognize our ancestors.
And also, I'm glad you brought that up, because it, you know, it's kind of like a relationship with a parent and a child. You know, if a stranger or, you know, whoever comes up and says, "Oh, you know, here you go, little child, have this," aren't you gonna get a bit bothered by that? Wouldn't it be better to ask the parent first? That's how it is with the Neteru. If they want to give something to us, they ask our ancestors, because they're higher than we are. They've got rid of their body. They're no longer suffering from the corruption. So we have to, you know, just understand that there's an order to everything.
And yeah, we basically, to honor our ancestors, we do that really by, within our homes, we find like a clean space, a designated space that we can designate to them, so that it's like a portal for them to come through. And what we do, we put on this altar symbolics of who they are. I think, you know, some people on some altars, they would probably put the 4 elements, because the 4 elements is within everything out there. It's a space that it's a space, really, right, that when we make our spiritual cakes or our food offering, that is in that space that we present that to our ancestors. And we would do a food offering. Also, we would put a drink with that also, either a glass of water or a glass of milk. And by doing that, is like we're remembering them, and they recognize that you're remembering them. And so that's a credit to you, if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah, and we know the other cultures, around the world, they have the same thing. But whatever emotions, whatever politics has been put onto those things, what the Earth Center is bringing is the original.
Yeah.
So, really, we're here to teach the authentic way to connect with your ancestors. Step by step, teach you everything that you need to do. And, having a healthy relationship with your ancestors gives you a healthy life.
So after we make our altars, what's the procedure then really, like we go through really in actually on ancestral holiday? Could you just give us like a brief overview like on what you do when you're doing your ancestral holiday?
Yeah, so what you would do, you cleanse the space, maybe have a bit of incense, open the window. So you have some clean clothes, clean white clothes, because originally white meant purity. That's why.
Is that for ascension? The color white, is that for ascension, or is that something to do with that?
Ascension. I don't know about that, but I know it means purity. So like in a lot, you'll see in a lot of other places, spiritually people wear white. Has nothing to do with the color of somebody's skin. That's politics.
Yeah.
So you'd have your clothes. You have a shower. I mean, how many people in the world are about to do something spiritual and they don't even have a shower?
Well, I mean, when you think of it though, if you're gonna go and visit a friend or someone like that, you would clean yourself. So why are you gonna be trying to reach someone who's much higher than ourselves, and then yet we think that we can kind of present ourselves to them in an unclean way? And so having that shower is one of the first steps, you'd say, to cleansing yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Because as I was saying, we still have our body. Our body, we produce our own corruption. So, at the very least, we could take a shower. I mean, it might seem obvious, but there are news stories out there, of colonial society where people don't take showers for weeks, and we're living in colonial society, so we're producing a lot of corruption. We're eating the wrong foods, we're drinking the wrong things. We've got the car pollution. We've got I think just the other day I heard that they'd finally reached some sort of good, quote unquote, good level for car pollution. But then they found that there was another thing going on, and that was cleaning products in the air, and that is supposedly responsible for.
Are you talking like aerosol cans, air fresheners, that kind of deodorant, that kind of stuff?
Not even just that. Industrial cleaning products.
Okay.
So even those, we wouldn't use those to clean our space, because of because they're poison, really. So if you're not gonna use those on yourself, then you're not gonna clean the floor where your altar is. So purity, keeping a clean space is very important when you're about to greet your ancestors. So yeah, so I guess some basic advice for people who want to reach out, to their ancestors. Have a shower. Make sure the space is clear.
And that space, he said, it can't be like, say, in your bathroom or toilet or anywhere like that. Preferably, if you haven't got space, then preferably you can do that in a hallway or a clean space.
Somewhere clear where people aren't going to be coming and going. Like let's say it's your bedroom, a corner of your bedroom or your living room or somewhere that's out of the way, that's going to be kept clear. So so you do that. You prepare something, maybe something that they'd like.
But before that though, I'm sorry, like the ablution, would we do our ablution first?
Yes, thank you. How could I forget that?
A little bit of nerves there.
Yeah, so it's ablutions.
I mean, we've got the book of purification that actually kind of sort of like break that down, really, like the stages that we go through in cleansing ourselves.
I have that with me right now. So yeah, so just to say about this book, Book of Purifications by Naba Lumusmo Denebig with Naba Irita Shemira. So as we said earlier, Naba Lemusa, he is the prophet of the traditions. So he's known in the traditions, and his son Naba Irita, basically they've both written this book. So it gives you a good grounding on purification from a traditional Kemetic perspective. So they have different sections about the prayers, doing the ablutions of the body, learning how to purify your space in a more technical manner. Has some very nice pictures of the netters. There's also like a picture guide of different positions.
The stages you go through.
Different positions for the Zemzem. So yeah, there's a lot in here.
I mean, the actual purification stage, ablution, sorry, isn't that something similar to like what the Muslims they do when they do their they actually took that from us, didn't they? Like in terms of the stages of cleaning your hands and going through all those different stages.
Yep. So long ago, they everybody in the world who knows something about real history knows that Kemet was and is the foundation of civilization. To have a civilization, you have to have a model to copy, and that has to be the divine world. So since the black man, the African, the Kem, since we were the first to open our eyes to the gods, we were the first ones to receive that knowledge of how to connect with those who have departed, to how to connect to the gods, how to raise our qualities.
And was that our ancestral father, godfather, actually taught us how to clean ourselves?
Our ancestral godfather Wissa. So yeah, so the Greeks, they called him Osiris, and the Germans, they called him Osar. So yeah, so at some point the The Arabs, they came to learn, just as many other people around the world did. Came to Kemet, came to the temples, and we taught them what we had. The reason, because if you come to initiation and you see how we do purifications, or even having a look in the book, you'll see that things are slightly different. The reason for that is because when they came, certain people, they had how can we put it, attitude. They had lack of emotional control, humility, all those kind of things. And they took what they'd learned, took it back and corrupted it based on their emotions. Okay, we like this bit, we don't like this bit,
and destroyed what they couldn't understand.
Or this gives me power over certain people. This gives me riches, all of this kind of stuff. So over time it gets distorted. But just to say, that's not the same as other traditions, other indigenous people of the world. They have different variations of what we do, but that's depending on a lot of different factors. One of them say being environment.
So after we do our ablution, we go on to actually now presenting ourselves and we go and make our food offering. Is it not at that stage it's done?
Yeah, so you'd prepare some food. You can make what your, if you know what your ancestors liked, then make that. At least to start off with, if you don't know anything and you want to connect with them, then make something that they would like. If you don't know what they liked, make some chop some fruit up, put some honey on it, offer it, offer a cup of water as well. So after that you can begin the Zemzem. For that, I encourage you to either join initiation, purchase the Book of Purifications, or even come to one of the Divine Holy Day Zemzems, our community Zemzem that we have. So the next one will be on the 8th. Yep, will be on the 8th. So you can come along. So I will just get the.
The address is 21 Sunnyside Road, Leighton, E10 7BB. And the phone number, my brother, is?
So the phone number is 0207 175 4144. 0207 175 4144.
And Facebook numbers and that kind of stuff. Have we got any contacts there?
Yep. So the email is umtamuk@theearthcenter.com. So that's MTAMUK@theearthcenter, spelt with a ER.com. Facebook is The Earth Center UK. Twitter is @Kebtar UK. Instagram is The Earth Center of UK. And the website is theearthcenter.org. And as I said before, there's also the meetup pages. So yeah, so please, connect with us and contact us if you have any questions.
Studio number, if you would like to contact us again, is 0794443136. I repeat, 0794443136. And so, that's the studio number. So anyone who has anything to say or asks us if we can help you, then we're obliged to do that. For the moment, we will just play you a short clip from Neb Naba Lamusa Morenin Big, and basically
Please understand, I'm not selling you any belief. I'm asking you to think. I'm asking you to use this brain. Keep in mind that despite everything we like to think, everything that we see and we do, that we seem to be glorifying about human being, let's understand a human nature. A human brain does not invent. What I mean is that a human being is within his essence. He can't sit and come up with an idea that has nothing to do with what they've been exposed to.
we seem to be having this slight little problem with the volume. Could we just pause for a little bit and try another connection, see if it's any better?
That is not. So, which means our environment, the nature, the universe, whatever we see of our environment, play a huge role in the steps that we set towards the future. So, that is our essence. And now, the gods ask us, what is our agenda? What do we want? And that is when humanity was coming. And gods are asking us, what is our plan? We don't have a plan. What can we think of? We can't think of anything. We didn't have enough time to be inspired or to be distracted or whatever you want to call it by the existence. The only thing we could perceive is the gods in front of us. So we did the best we could do, which is we tell them we want to be like you. We want to build a divine world. We want to build a world like the world of the gods, because that's what we can do. That's our best. And we really gave it our best. But now there is a problem. A human being sets as an agenda, wanting to be like gods, wanting to reproduce the world of the gods. But a human being is not a god. We die. We perceive them to be immortal. We get sick. They don't get sick. We grow old. They don't grow old. We are dirty. dirty. If you don't believe me that we are dirty, even physically.
We seem to be having a little bit of problem playing this this video, right? So we'll bring it through to a caller who's just come through on the line, yeah?
Don't take your bath or
Um,
your shower. And then ask your friend to smell your vagina.
my sister, can you hear us?
I can hear you. I can hear
You
you.
can? Oh, that's good. That's good. Ujjayi, welcome to the
Ujjayi.
Wisdom of the Nile show.
You Jay.
And thank you for calling in. And I mean, you was here last week giving us a brief account, really, like, of your experience there as an initiate. And we understand that you you made a journey to the motherland, really, what we call Merita.
Yeah.
And would you like to give us like a small or just an overview of what your journey was like there and your experience?
Okay. This wasn't the first time I've been to Merita. I went last year, but when I first went, it was wow. Oh, oh. You know, you see things that you've seen for the first time, and you don't stop to take it in because you're just amazed to be in that place. This time when I went, I felt like I was going home. It felt like there was nothing that was shocking, there was nothing that was new, but it felt like I was coming back to somewhere I needed to be. When we're in the EC, we talk about structure and community and family and the way that we are supposed to work as human beings. And you hear it and you hear it and you hear it and you understand it, but it's not until you actually get there and see it being played out before your eyes as if it was just normal. The people who lived that life and lived that structure, that was part of them. The way they greeted you in the mornings, the way they were very humble, the way that when you go to their house, they don't just give you a drink of water, they make sure you eat. It was just the way we all shared our foods together, the way we did everything together. It was a very, very humbling experience. When I was there in Merita, it was a time for learning. I was removed from a society where all the thinking was done for you. You know, you drive down your road, the traffic lights tell you when to stop. You speed too much, you're in fear of getting a ticket or being pulled over, or you go to school and you're told what to do. Every moment of the day that you are in the UK, you are told where to go, what to do, how to behave. Now, when I went to Merita, I stepped out of that controlled environment into an environment where my mind was free. I didn't have to think about the opinions or values of anybody. It was a time where I could reflect, a lot of self-reflection. It highlighted my flaws because I didn't have anything to hide behind. And it was like that for a lot of initiates as well. There wasn't the jobs that they could hide behind or the titles they had or the status they had. It was about connecting with yourself, reflecting on yourself and understanding who you are and what it is about yourself you need to change. That was another part that was humbling. It was an amazing experience. It wasn't like I went somewhere where I went on holiday and had to do this, that, the other, and you know, go on excursions or go do some shopping. It was nothing like that. It was a time where you had to be you. There was no escaping from yourself because there was nothing else to hide behind. You had to face yourself and be you and work on yourself. And it was amazing. We had a celebration there. Somebody got engaged, and I witnessed these people, these humbled, beautiful people, celebrating with this couple. And I'll tell you something, they were a lot happier than the couple. They danced and danced and danced, and they danced some more, and they continued to dance even when we thought the party was over. They just moved to another section of the land and started dancing. They just danced because they were genuinely happy for somebody else's happiness. We don't get that here. That was a happiness that I've never witnessed. And they just brought in people, and the joy you could see, you could feel the energies. It was really nice, really, really nice. Merita is, to me now, it's home. I don't have to read it in a book and think about what it could be like. I know what it's like, and it's a really, really humbling experience because it brings you out of yourself. You have to face yourself, and I really enjoyed that.
And what is it like, say, your experience? I mean, we know that there's going to be like a pilgrimage coming up shortly, in a few months' time. Is it something that you think that the viewers, the listeners out there really would kind of would appreciate, kind of say, getting back to know themselves, really?
You know, if anybody has a chance to reclaim themselves, take it and go. Because this society is there's too many distractions. You can try, and the process is a lot easier to do once you're taken out of the West. If you have the chance to go to pilgrimage, please go, because you can pick up books and you can read and you can have the best teachers, but nothing beats experience. Nothing beats your paradigm shift, your perception change. Nothing beats seeing the moon on its side for the first time. When I went there, I didn't, just the simplest little things, I didn't realize that. I knew about it and I read about it, and that, you know, I saw on TV that when you travel across the world as far as I did, and I saw the crescent moon for the first time at night. Well, obviously it's night, it's the moon. I saw the crescent moon, not the way I usually see it in the UK, upright, but on its side like a smile. And I looked at it and I thought, yeah, I'm in the dark, I can't see anything. I could be mistaken to be anywhere else, but when you look up and you see the moon and the stars, you don't get that over here. You don't hear. Have you ever heard silence? Real silence. You're in Merita. You don't hear the traffic in the background. You don't hear the police cars. You don't hear people slamming the doors. You don't hear the ringing of a shop door. You don't hear anything. Not a thing.
But you hear the sound of nature, though, like all the crickets.
Yeah, you don't hear anything artificial.
Yeah.
You hear the rhythm of nature. You probably hear the flutter of bats across your head, or if you listen very carefully, you can hear the insect on the floor, depending on where you're sitting. You hear the crackling of the fire. Where we went in Merita, there was no electricity, and I didn't miss a thing. I didn't miss the internet. I didn't miss the communication with the outside world. It was just me and Mother Earth.
But you had your mobile phone, though, didn't you?
I bought it, but I didn't use it. Didn't use it at all. Some people have the internet, but I chose not to use, because I didn't want to reconnect with what I had just left. I was here for a purpose. And, you know, having conversation is something people don't do anymore. We have conversations, but not meaningful, in-depth conversation where you can talk for hours with a group of people, with no telephone ringing, or no switching over the TV, or nobody knocking the door, or nobody phoning for a takeout. It was just fire, group of people talking and listening to other people's perspectives. Just gave you a new take on how we're supposed to be living. In this society, we don't live as humans.
Well, that's where you probably see like what a real, true community really is, where there is interaction, isn't there?
Yeah, it's
where everybody's forced to work together to survive. So there's a collectiveness there.
Yes. You know, in modern society, if we sit somewhere with somebody, we feel awkward with that silence when nobody talks. That didn't happen. We could sit there for the longest time and not say anything, because everybody was thinking, and it didn't feel strange. But when you're here, you're in a room with a crowd of people aren't talking, people start to get fidgety. It's just lots of little things that you don't expect, you don't realize until you take yourself away and you go there where it's just you and nature. There is a big difference. Over here, we're distracted by so many things. We think our life is full. With the distractions, we go to work, we go to school, we've got bills to pay. We just think our life is full and we're busy being distracted. But when you're over there, there's not a lot to do, but your mind is busy readjusting and trying to find yourself. It's amazing. It really is amazing. Can't wait to go back, actually. I came back here and I found it hard to adjust. It took me nearly 2 weeks to come back to this reality.
Well, this is not a reality though, really, is it? It's just...
It's a reality for the people here.
For the people in here, really, right? And this is what we believe. This is what we take this as being real. This is what everybody's craving, to come here to experience nothingness. But to appreciate like simplicity and just being in that contact with nature, and appreciating the food. I mean, like to be eating clean food as opposed to GM food, really, right? That it's got no nutritional value or anything like that. I'm sure, like, say, took you a good little while, like, say, even for your taste bud to kind of adjust back to. It did for me when I go Jamaican places like that. It takes me a little while to kind of just to get that taste back.
Yeah, it's when I went there, it took me about a week to adjust, to clear out, to settle, and then you get used to the food, and your food is your medicine. Your food is what keeps you. You don't eat for pleasure like over here, where you can pick and choose. Over there, you eat what you need to eat. You eat what your body needs. But when you come back, it's readjusting again, because the food that you was eating over there, you can't get in England. You can't get the simple, natural food that your body needs. As soon as you get home, it's okay, what am I going to eat? I could do it such and such. They don't sell it. I have to go and buy what somebody else has processed, and they call that nutrition for my body. And it's hard. It is very hard, because your taste bud have to readjust again to what we call food, which is just byproducts. And it's not easy, because you feel it in your body as well. You feel the change. Because when you cleanse, when you're over there, you feel good. You get up early in the morning, you've got energy, you've got some beating down on you, and you feel vibrant, you feel alive. You think, yes, I'm home. And then you come back here, where people suffer with seasonal something or another disorder, and you get off the plane and it's grey, and then you feel that cover coming back over, where everything's controlled again, and then it's just so much different. It is so much different from leaving a place that says it has everything to a place where it's very simple. Give me the simple life anytime.
Ujahi sent. Ujahi.
Ujahi, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, just listening to what you're saying, and I remember when I went back home to Merita, and just being in Kavom, just for example, and being in the healing village, and you're sleeping. Maybe you go to bed late because you're chatting at the fire and you're looking at the stars. Clear night. Every single night. And you go to bed late, but you still wake up at the crack of dawn. Every single day.
Without a clock.
Without a clock. you know. And even like for me, I remember, I think I woke up just maybe an sort of hourish after dawn started, and I could already hear people, you know, walking around, getting on with the day. I was just like, wow, you know, I have to get up. You know,
I mean,
so just the contrast of being in Merita to being here,
yeah.
you know, is it's undeniable, you know. Like you said, I can't wait to go back either, you know. just to have a break, you know, break from all this madness.
Yeah.
But you know, not a break in terms of a holiday, you know.
No.
Get away from this madness, go and do something, you know, for myself, you know, for my people. And then, you know, since I have to come back at some point, you know, bring the experiences, bring the wisdom, you know, bring the energy that I've got from the sun, you know, and bring it back here.
But we need it here now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been dreary, very dreary. Yeah, you know, it's a very, very special place. But yeah, I want to ask you, how are the, you know, people, especially the children, you know, you being a woman, how are the children towards you, you know, versus here?
I'm a bit of a, I wouldn't say conundrum. I'll tell you why. I'm not that old.
He doesn't say that. He doesn't say that at all.
But you see, when people see me first, they see the white hair. So I am looked upon as an elder and a mother. You know, a woman of my age can step into Merita, and without the white hair, she is seen as a woman, and a woman of age, yes, but not seen as the mother. I went with my daughter and my grandchildren have this thing, Nana, Nana, everywhere they go, it's Nana, Nana. So I can hear everybody in the pilgrimage that was there. There was 30, 40 people. Everybody, Nana, Nana. So I felt like a mother.
Yeah.
But what I noticed for the children is that in the West you'll find that children are very spoiled with choices that they have, and they are quite demanding. But you'll find in Merita that the children, their character is calm. They're not hyped up on the additives and preservatives that we have in the food. That's one thing that kind of hurts the children we have over here. But the children in Merita are calm. They're like little adults. They're mature. They if they see you doing something that they can do, they will do it. If you're carrying a bag and they know they can carry the bag, they'll take the bag from you and carry it. They greet you when they see you. First thing they do, before anything else, they will greet you. They will come up to you and they say Ujai or Sava, but they have respect for their elders. Children play together. They don't sit around with the adults like you'll find in Western society. You'll have children mixing with adults. The children in Merita stick together, and it's the children that steer other children. You won't find the adults steering children. Adults steer themselves. Adults steer other adults, but the children, they're the ones that control all the other children. And if a child is having a tantrum, the others will just ignore it until that child realizes that's not the way to behave. Children are very
mature.
Yeah, they are.
Is it because though, like they, you know, we're going through initiation, and I understand that over there they start their initiation from a very young age. and so
Yeah.
they learn certain values and as to who they are and what they should be, the role that they should be playing. Do you think that's got anything to do with it? The
And
fact
it's their
that they've
culture.
been
It's the way you're supposed to be as a human.
mm,
You know, children understand children. Adults understand adults. There's a big difference between a child and an adult. So what better to learn from than children? You know that human beings can't invent. A child will grow and they'll see an adult walking, they'll try and mimic, and they'll stand up and they'll try to walk.
mm,
So as they get older, they'll see other children and then they will start to mimic what other children are doing. So you'll find there's groups of children, groups of adults, groups of older children, groups of smaller children. You have the older children looking after the younger children. And you'll have the younger ones looking after the even younger ones. It's in stages. And they are controlled within themselves. Not because of initiation alone, but because that's the way their society is. Our society is a mess, therefore our children are a mess. Their society has the culture and the history and the stability and the rigidity, so their children become that way as well.
So we see it though, really, like say, where to control our children, oftentimes people end up beating their children, as opposed to those down there. Really, that's probably like something that you don't really see a lot down there, where, as you say, children know their place, so they don't really have to experience that.
I learned from the queen that we stayed at, Wisdon Queen, that a child must never feel that they are not loved. You don't discipline a child the way we discipline them in the West, but it's more like, remember the children imitate? If they have a good example, they will follow that example. So if you as a parent want to show a child how to be, that's the way they are shown from a very young age, so they don't go to the age where there's fighting and confusion and anger and pain like the children over here. They already have the stability, so they don't sway too much. They're very focused and straightforward, the children are. You get the babies who are crying, yes, when they're falling over or hurt themselves, or they need nappy changing, or they need food. What little babies do, but the older ones, you look at them and you know they've got sense. They are. It's nice to see. It is very nice to see. They have confidence from within. They have confidence, and they show it.
Sorry. Yeah, you're. This is a question I want to ask you there. Like, while you was over there, obviously you must have because today for us here, we're speaking about like ancestral holiday and importance and significance of it. Did you experience like any of these spiritual kind of events or days over there that day, and the way it's done over there as opposed to how we do it here? Was you able to partake in any of that spiritual kind of happening?
There was loads of spiritual events. I didn't partake in any of the ancestral holiday or divine holidays, mainly because we was traveling a lot. I did my daily Zemzem in my room, and other initiates did theirs as well. But the reason why I didn't see any is because we was mostly living on a temple land. It was in the temple. It was always holy days.
Yeah.
And we had the offerings to be done and the ancestral calls, and it was always a place to be respected, and you was always aware of the ancestors and the Netaru, because it was always talked about. There was nothing. It was never not discussed. It was the way they cut their meat is very spiritual. They use their left hand. The way they pick up things, they use their right hand. The way they wash your feet, you use your left hand. Everything they did, the way they spoke, the way they walked, the way they carried themselves, the way they dressed, had something to do with the history, culture, spirituality. They didn't just walk willy-nilly. They didn't talk to you about anyhow. Everything about the people I met was about spirituality. I mean, we had a process of cleansing. at different temples that we went, at different places that we went to. Even going into temples, you were greeted. You had a drink of water before you stepped in. You took off your shoes, and you had to be quiet. There was no shouting. There was no raising the voices. Everywhere you went was about spirituality. It kept you humble. We went to we went to again the Wisdon Queen's land where she had a temple and she had her initiates, and they had a festival which they have every year, and we heard music playing really loud from probably about 6 o'clock in the evening till about 6 o'clock in the morning, non-stop. And this was a spiritual place, but some people will see spirituality, it is rigid, but there is also a balance.
So
Pardon?
did you get to witness, like the ancestral calls and
Oh yeah,
those kind of
yeah,
things? Yeah.
many.
How was that for you?
For me, I was called. In fact, last year when I went the first time, I was called into ancestral call to sit at the front, to sit in front of the priest, and one of the priests said, "Come, you need to listen to this because you're talking to yourself." I said, "Huh? You're talking to your spirit." So I was basically sitting in front of the priest who my spirit was talking through, talking to myself, and I felt so naked. I felt so open, so exposed, because I was being told things from somebody I didn't know, but it was me because the way they spoke, it was my voice, it was the way I say my words. That was so humbling. I felt like I could just put my head on the floor, just stay there, just stay there and listen. I mean, these are deities, divinities that speak. These are spirits that are speaking. And it just, wow, it's another level. It's another level. I can't even explain it. It makes you realize that what we see, hear, touch, feel, all our senses, how we communicate in the physical, it's nothing compared to what's in the non-material. And there is so much going on at one time. We take for granted the materialistic things that we have. Life is not about that at all. With ancestral call, just reconnects you to things that you didn't even realize were missing in your life. It helps you to understand that things in the physical affect the things in the non-material. When they're doing the offerings, it's that itself is humbling, because you're asking for the spirit to take your message to where it needs to go. And wow, it's to see it over and over and over again. Every time I see it, it's like you're carrying something for me somewhere that I can't see, but I know it's being done, and I know my wishes are being met because I feel the change. And the first time it happened, when I came back, I felt like I was being ripped apart. I'll tell you how I described it. You know, you have a fish bowl, a glass bowl, just an empty glass bowl, and you drop it and it shatters, but in slow motion. Now, what happened to me, I felt like I got to the very end where I couldn't stretch out anymore. But I knew that if I'm coming back, I'm not coming back the same. And then I could feel myself day after day changing and readjusting and changing and readjusting to get back, not even to get back, to become me. Because I was not coming back. I was not being the woman I was before the ancestral calls and the spiritual works and talking to my ancestors and my spirits. I wasn't going to be that person who saw that for the first time. What I was coming back to was something else I couldn't even imagine I would be. the depth that I have grown because of spiritual work is amazing. It's amazing. It's
So how often is ancestral call?
it depends how many people need spiritual works. When I was there, when we got to Hetai Shad Kabam, it was almost every day.
Okay.
Depends on how many people are there. Yeah, because you know, when people go to pilgrimage, they go for something. They don't just go to look. Everybody's in need of something, so they go there for that, and it's a fantastic opportunity. It really is.
Because we really, you know, as we were discussing earlier, we really rely on our ancestors, you know, to assist us in you know, in our everyday life, really. You know, just like a parent does with a child, you know, they make that sacrifice, you know, so that we can grow up and, you know, get, you know, effectively to the end of our life, you know, to give us that, you know, good start. So, you know, so communicating with our ancestors, if we can do that for them, you know, then we're so much better off, you know. And I definitely get what you're saying. When you go to Merita, you know, we go there for a reason, you know. We go to reclaim, you know, who we are. So yeah, you know, it's very, very, very interesting. Everybody should go. I will always say that everybody should go. You know,
because it's never what you expect.
But coming back here now, though, is there anything important happening? We understand you're from Coventry, them side.
Yeah.
And you know, you've got the school running up there in Coventry. Is there anything, any news or anything like that you'd like to put out there for the listeners?
I'm just putting together some lectures that I hope anybody can attend. Dates and venues will be given at a later date. But if you'd like to call in for any information, the number is 02476 266 859, or the mobile you can call 07305 955 944. Sorry, 995 944. Say that again. 07305 995 944. And I'll be glad to talk to and answer anybody's questions.
And that's the event coming up. What date did you say? Could you repeat that again, please?
I haven't organised a date yet. I'm still waiting for confirmation before I give out any more information on those.
And we're kind of running out of time now, really. And this is our sister Yetepia from Coventry. And we just like to say, Dua for your kind thoughts and experience on the motherland.
So is there anything more that you'd like to say?
For anybody who's listening, please take a trip. Go on pilgrimage to Merita. It's an experience that you will remember for life, and it's an experience that reconnects you to who you are. It's well worth it. It really is.
Well, Duaru, Yatefia.
And
thank you very much.
Thank you, Duao. And well, at some other time, really, we could probably get you back on. I'm sure you've got a lot more to say.
Anytime.
Yeah. So as and when, yeah, you enjoy being back here in the cold.
Oh wow. Thank you for that. Thank you for having me on the show.
Okay. Do. And Irihiru.
Irihiru.
Iveru.
Irihiru.
So yeah, that was our sister, Yatepia, who recently went to Merita, traditional Africa. And just wanted to, reiterate about, going to Merita. As we've kind of been, saying, we're really at a place now, we're at a crossroads, where we can either go back, find out who we were before slavery, before colonialism, before all of this television and whatever else, and we can Merita is our home. If you haven't been back, then where are you from? Are you really from England? Are you really from Jamaica? From France? From wherever? Where are you really from? So take a journey back home to Merita, to the traditions, and see what you're missing.
And this is where initiation can redirect you back to our ancestors, back to the motherland, to where all humanity started, and getting to know yourself. And yeah, we'll read out the number later on for the Earth Center for anyone who would like to come and experience what we're going through at this moment of time. But for now, we just give you a couple minutes of music, and we just have a short reading from the initiatic tale. Welcome back. We're just going to have a short reading from the initiate tale, and it's going to be read to you by our Atini Kosati. She'll be reading from the pt8.
path that would lead us to the gods. We must also understand that this elevation of human dignity will come with a price: work. The work will be at the origin of what we call material richness. Human life, based on the gathering and hunting of wild animals, is simply not dignifying for human beings that recognize their non-material dimension and existence of gods. This simple logic was enough for the individual that lives on this earth while keeping in mind the fragile balance of forces that are involved in the becoming of existence. The world of the human will become under the watchful eyes of the gods, creators of existence, and those who guarantee the stability and harmony of existence. With a society that has a goal of approaching the world of the gods, every individual will develop moral and spiritual values that are favorable to existence. 77 Commandments. The story I'm going to tell comes from far in our past, but it still can be observed in every society. It is the story of the farmer and his children. To say that the world changes is saying nothing special. Yes, the world changes, values change, the world falls apart. Every generation tries to do its best with what it finds. Every generation finds itself soured by the egotism inherent within the desperate solutions enacted by its elders, who probably thought they would not be around years later to face the consequences of the problems caused by these ill-conceived solutions. The more time advances, more and more generations are born into problems that have been caused by their elders, fathers, mothers, grandparents, etc. The farmer came into a world that challenged all his wisdom. He saw people sold their farms to nobilities and found themselves forced to work in their farms for the rich people for a salary that can only help them buy some of the food they had farmed for their boss. He has seen them trying to survive, working on the same land that they owned before, but now for somebody else. He has seen farmers speak proudly of their dignity and the fact that now they are just workers. He has seen them give themselves titles like employed, gardener, rancher, house cleaner, secretary, well digger, supervisor, etc. He has always found these titles intriguing. For all of his life he asked himself how these people think. They don't resemble those who have given up, those who have sold their land and then found themselves farming the same land for others who are stronger or more intelligent than they. The farmer is living in the world upside down, and his only comfort is the fact that his children are farming with him and they are all living off the farm. Of course, farm work is not easy. He has seen his kids complain about the fact that they must always work, and many times he has told them that this was the price of their dignity. If you refuse to suffer for your dignity, you will end up suffering for someone else's dignity. You will be employed. As we say in Africa, it is the slowest camel that sets the pace for the caravan. The logic of human intelligence is clear, but very few people perceive it. A lot of people have developed a sort of pride in the fact that they are employed, and this is becoming like a social pressure on the children of the farmer. As time went on, it became more and more normal to be anything other than a farmer that lives from his land. The farmer was feeling his age. His forces were fading with time. Normally, he was supposed to count more and more on his children, but many times he has seen them complain that they were poor and that the employees were better than them. One day, feeling that his death was approaching, the farmer gathered his children in his room and talked to them from the depth of his heart. My children, I can see death knocking at my door. I would like for you to listen very seriously. Never sell the heritage that our ancestors left to us. Never sell our land for any price. There is a treasure hidden in it, and I don't know the place. If you farm all of our land, you will find it someday. Dig, search, sow it. Do not leave any place unfarmed. And when you find that wealth, you will be richer. And remember, the treasure was the result of the sweat from our ancestors. After the death of the farmer, his children gathered in their farm, more motivated than ever. They worked continuously. For days they sowed at every corner of the farm and planted millet, wheat and corn. They quadrupled their harvest and sold part of it. They spent the rest of the year waiting with impatience for the arrival of the next rainy season. When the rains came, they found themselves sowing harder and harder with the secret hope that they might find the pot of gold somewhere. They produced so much that they sold the surplus and brought gold. The father, in one way, taught his children that work was a treasure. Yes, work is a treasure. We must have the wisdom to recognize what we are doing and place our sweat and aspirations in the dimensions of the human struggle. All work requires us to spend energy, but every time we consider the cosmic dimension of humanity, we see that a lot of our sweat has been poured more towards our illusions than towards the vital principles of the earth. As it is said by people in my village, a useless work is only fit to a dog, and even when the dog understands that it is useless, it leaves it alone.
Dua with my sister Kasati, and that was a story from the Initiatic Tale. It's called Work is a Treasure, and from the tale you can see really here that working can bring us reward. I mean, the Western society here really, we're made to believe really, right, that we can just get things for nothing. And the moral behind that story there was that if the father had not given them the incentive to put the hard work in, as what we've done in the past, we've sold our land, our inheritance really, right, and end up becoming workers for the same people, on the same land, and we could have reaped our own benefit really, like, had we persevere and see what real riches are. And so the father was very clever really in giving them that incentive to say, well, there was something there at the end of the tunnel really, and that made them kind of, yeah, kept on to their wealth really, right, as opposed to kind of selling it away for nothing, which we've, as I said, we've done throughout really. We'll come to the end of the show, and we'll just like to give out the numbers again.
And just before that, we had a text just asking about the last song that we played. So that's Sona Jabati, Gambia, and I'm sure you can download that off iTunes or Spotify, one of those. So yeah, great song. So yeah, so just gonna give out our details. So our number is 0207 175 4144. Again, that's 0207 175 4144. Our email is mtamuk@theearthcentre.com. So that's MTAMUK, and centre is with an ER. Facebook is The Earth Centre UK. Twitter is at pt8 UK. Instagram is at the Earth Centre of UK. And the website is theearthcentre.org. So also just a reminder that there are many products coming from the Firefly production house. So there is many books, one of them being the Book of Purifications, as we talked about earlier. The Rising Firefly magazine, which is a journal of Kemetic culture and spirituality. The Tales of Hedgetar, as you just heard, being read from, which is a collection of stories that were, brought back to the diaspora and the rest of the world, by Prophet Nabal Musamo Denewig. Again, we have the calendar, which will help you reorientate yourself in space and time. We didn't mention herbs.
Yeah,
we have lots and lots of herbs, coming directly from the continent. So, they have the potency that is needed. They're sun-drenched, as we say. So
there are good cleansing herbs, which for all the toxicity and things that we're suffering through this environment here, really, the Suli and the Ninika, they are good cleansers, good elimination kind of for getting rid of the toxins in the body, which is we need that to sustain health. So those products are available at the temple, the Earth Centre in Leytonstone, which is 21 Sunnyside Road, Leyton, E10 7BB. And you can reach us there like on a Sunday between say 11 and 5 p.m. Where all these products are available to be purchased. So we would just like to.
So also don't forget we have meetup pages. So the Earth Centre Coventry and the Earth Centre Kemetic Mystery School, UK. So do join us on those social networks, as we'll be updating, on events that we have, some promotions and things like that. And we, would just like to leave you again with the proverb of the week, which is: to deny the power of the ancestral spirit is to choose one's destruction, is to refuse to exist.
Yeah, and as we say, we'd like to say honor and acknowledge our ancestors, really, right, for giving us this opportunity each day. We rise, really, is because of their negotiating for us to give us that other day to try to fulfill our destiny. And so we would like also to say Duawu, that means thanks to Bless FM for giving us the opportunity, really, right, for putting across our message to the world, and share our experiences, really, that has taken us so far on our journey, and that's what we would like to share with each and every one out there.
I'd just like to say, Duawu to everybody for listening, and bless Radio for allowing us the space to present, and just keep on being good.
Yeah, and our sister Tapia from Coventry for sharing her experience on the motherland. So Duawu for that. And for Kasati for reading from the Ejpata, we also say Duawu, and we just hope to see or to tune in next strong, and hopefully If anyone have any would like to phone in and well have any comments, you want to share anything really like on the show for next week, we'll give you the studio number again so that you can keep this, you know, in your phone book as you do with other numbers, and hopefully if you want to share anything with us, you can do so on the Wisdom of the Nile show. And the number for Bless FM studio number is 0794443136. 0794443136. Yeah, every Wednesday at from 8 till 10, and we'll just sign off with my name is Nehipsa Nesebik, and my brother, fellow initiate, is
Sanun Nesevik.
and everyone.
Here we go.
My name is Will.
Turamagan tere manden kele mansali. Indongli ye turamagan silulema. Bunyani jigiya menyal kan. Alial jantola. Beni faciale. Ali sona jabate jere turamagan sile. Dobrete facia kole.
fisa ya malo ya ye dunia kono. Na 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 mokele site duya laban wala ye muso nyale denje tiniala kele mandi dangadena wani kele make kebali tuna maza foro no balo sumera jama joni bena fasi la koritiara tuna maza foro no balo sumera jama joni bena fasi la koritiara. Solio ha mo beni faciale tura magansilo yemi che farin silo